Okay, so the concept of hidden variables is there. What exactly the meaning of hidden variables and what kind of algorithm, probability-based algorithms are present with hidden variables that we will see. So in real-world applications of machine learning, it's very common that there are many relevant features available of learning, but only a small subset of them are observable. Data we are having with us, and the data some n number of features are present. We are actually acquired it, or maybe the features are missing. Means the features which are shown, which are presented there, they are containing information, but there's not possible to find perfect way to extract that information, usefulness of them. These are independent variable, the input variable, they are the perfect input variable that we have to identify. If they are not, then they are not considered in generation of it. So for the variable which are sometimes observable and sometimes are not, they are sometimes observable and sometimes are not, then we can use the instances when the variable is visible, is observed for the purpose of learning, then predict its value in the instances which is not observable. This is what we call as the hidden variables. Non-observable, they are useful, they can be applied, they can be easily be used to perform the classification or to build the machine learning predictive analytics model there, but they are not visible. Sometimes they are visible, they are called as the hidden variables, remember. So there is an algorithm in machine learning which is of kind expectation maximization, EM algorithm we call expectation maximization. This algorithm can be used for latent variables which are not directly observable and actually inferred from the values of the other observed variables. It's called as hidden variables. To in order to predict their values with the condition that the general form of probability distribution governing those latent variable is known to us. Yes, using probability distribution, it's possible to identify the values of that variable. That we can do. So this algorithm is actually the base of many unsupervised learning algorithm, also clustering algorithm in the field of machine learning. It's used there to predict something which is hidden, which is not observable directly, which is not observable. We create that. It's called as the hidden variable concept, and there's an algorithm called as expectation maximization, EM algorithm is there, which is used to perform the operation of identifying the values of hidden variables. So it was explained and proposed and given its name in the paper published in 1977 by Arthur Dempster and Nan Led and Donald Rubin. Okay, so in 1977, almost 50 years ago, it was proposed, and it is used to find the local maximum likelihood parameter of a statistical parameter. See, as I told, we talked about maximum likelihood. So if you increase the maximum likelihood, the probability will improve for the case. So maximum likelihood can be identified with the help of the expectation maximization algorithm. So in cases where latent variables are involved and the data is missing or incomplete, data is not perfectly done, perfectly created, we can just check the previous data, and the values whose the variables whose values are not known or new variables can be created. They are what the EM algorithm is basically focused on the identifying the hidden variables over here. Now see what algorithm generally is present there. It is EM algorithm, how it works. So I think in K-means clustering, this algorithm is exactly used, and with this the are created. Let's see how it works. Given a set of incomplete data, consider a set of starting parameters there. Means from where you have to start. That is your expectation we put. Okay, expectation step, E step, using the observed variable available in the data set, estimate or guess values of missing data. Guess it, that may be possible there. Okay, that may be possible. So here this is possibility, this possibility, this possibility, this possibility, like variables are hidden, we don't know, but we expect it. Yeah, this can be the value present over there. Initially some value will be random, or by using some function, by that you can expect some values over there. Expectation state. And second is maximization steps. In maximization step, complete the data generated after the expectation step used to order update the parameter. Expectation will have a step by which you can generate novel data, and accordingly the value will be adjusted. At the end of maximization step, we get the expected output there. That is maximization. Like in a clustering technique, it is actually used. For example, we have to create the groups of the data. So I don't know where what is present. So at expectation step, I assume that the group will be like this first center, second center, third center, three groups are there. And then we'll try to get one by one into the respective group. This is the maximization step is done. And at the end of maximization, we will have the perfectly created model generated over there. See this one, this is a simple idea of expectation maximization is there. So expectation, we put what I want, and to achieve that, what can I do? That is what I want in E. What can I do to achieve that in M? So here we put your variables according to E. You just have the M step. In M step maximization, we can update the hypothesis, adjust it, and put it again the E step. Update the variables. Updated, then what you have to do? Again, go to maximization step, update the hypothesis. Means dynamically you are updating the hypothesis. What idea I have put? So that idea I'm changing. So every time, just like in clustering, I told every time the centroids are changing. And at the end, they will be placed somewhere where the ideal position they are looking for. At that position that is kept, that they have kept. Fine. This is what expectation and the maximization steps are. E and M, two steps. So if you put the all together, there are 4 steps are present in it. So I just completed over here in algorithm. So initially, a set of initial values in the parameter are considered. Let's say this is initial value. So we just compare it. I don't know what ideal values are there. Initial values are kept. A set of incomplete observed data that is given to the system with the assumption of observed data that come from the specific model. You assume it, you put it there, randomly created values. Then the second step is expectation. That is, in this step we are using the observed data in order to estimate or guess the values in the missing or incomplete data. What can be the possibility there? What can be possibility present there? What can be possibility here? Possibility here, possibility, all possibilities are checked. So that is expectation, and we will go for the maximization, the second step. Step M step. In this step, we used to use the complete data generated in the preceding expectation step in order to update the values of parameter. It's basically used to update the hypothesis and just check it. Key, I want to achieve that, then what I want to do. So you update, you perform again update, you perform again, you update, you perform again, update. Like this is combinations of this. Now in the fourth step, it is checked whether the values are converging or not. If yes, then stop, otherwise repeat step 2 and step 3. The expectation step and maximization step will be completed until the convergence occurs, until the whole data is not completed or until the expected model is not created. Till that, these operations are continuously done. This is what EM algorithm is used to identify the values of hidden variables. Basically, they are also based on probabilities, because they are based on the assumptions there. So based on assumption, that's why the output that we got, it is in the probabilistic format. Fine. So check it out. This is the flow chart that we can show. Start. Let's get the initial values. Okay, then we'll go for expectation step, then maximization. Okay. Are you getting the expected output? No. Then come back. Change the hypothesis. Then your expectation step, revise it, then go for maximization. Again, check convergence is done. No, come back. So in this way, these steps are taken one by one. Maximize, converge, come back. Maximize, converge, come back, like that, in this way. And when convergence is done, then stop it. Convergence means final expectations are over, model perfectly created, or the data value which are available with us are not now present. Data set is over. So whatever learning I want to do, it's completed. It means that now maximization is done. Maximization is fully completed. Algorithm will stop. This is what the EM algorithm is there, is to identify the hidden variables. So applications like it can be used to fill missing data in the sample. Yes. See, data cleaning. We have talked about data cleaning in last subject also. Cleaning means the data is missing and you have to put some expected value instead of that missing values there. So most of the time what I do, I check next value and previous value, and I can expect some value instead of it, missing value there. Okay, or I can use some mean, median, mode of the other values instead of that. But the idea, general idea, the best idea to have the missing value here, to use the expectation maximization concept. You can put the relationship in the previous next, identify what is the possible value there, then check relation is matching or not. That is expectation. We maximize it again change the hypothesis, revise the relation, again matching, again revise, again matching, again revise continuously. That's done. So this is how the application is there. EM is used to find the hidden variables. Yes, it's also the basis of unsupervised learning of cluster. K means clustering algorithm is there, which is completely based on the true core idea of expectation maximization concept. With the help of it, it's possible to predict the groups of the data, groups within the data. That is fine. It is called as the clustering technique of unsupervised learning. It can also be used for purpose of estimating the parameter of hidden Markov model, HMM. Hidden Markov model is also one of the method which is used to create the clusters, and it is used to find the parameters also, HMM. So unsupervised learning technique is there, HMM. In that also we are going to make use of the EM algorithms, and it also can be used to discover the value of latent variables. When latent variables are okay, that just need to identify the latent variables value, so that can be discovered with the help of the concept of E expectation and the maximization. So this is the idea of hidden variables which is used in the algorithms which I mentioned. Two commonly used algorithms are K-means clustering and the hidden Markov model, which actually makes implementation of expectation and maximization kind of concept to predict the values of the hidden variables here. Now let's go with the supervised learning. So basically, see, there are many different ways by which the predictive modeling, supervised learning is a predictive model basically, which is used to do the predictions on the data. So data we are having input, we build a model of it. Once the model is built, we are going to do the predictions, predictive analytics on that particular data. So this is what is a supervised learning, correct? So supervised learning. So in that learning or in that kind of models, like predictive modeling, basically supervised learning is a predictive modeling itself. So in that there are many different kind of ways, different kind of ways are there by which you can build the model. What sort of models are there? So four I have enlisted here. Linear models, linear. Second is tree-based models. Third is probabilistic model. Fourth is ANN, artificial neural network-based models. Out of it, linear and probability-based models are more very commonly used in many machine learning algorithms. Linear models are the model which use a simple formula to find the best fit, line of best fit on the set of data points, the line of best fit on the set of data points. That is called as the linear model. Tree-based models we uses the like decision tree algorithm is there. If then rules are there, with the help of that the trees are created, decision trees. Like decision tree random forests are present. That's what we can use. Third is probabilistic model. They use the probability of expected outcome for predictions. Like Naive-Bayes algorithm we have seen. That's probabilistic model. Then one more, this is very novel used in the deep learning nowadays, artificial neural network. They are modeled after the way of neuron interact with the human brain to interpret the information to solve the problem. So whatever brain neural network we are having, with the help of that we are going to find a solution to different kind of problem. That is called as the ANN based model. It's also referred as the deep learning model. So different kind of models are there. As a part of our syllabus, right, we are having the linear models here. Linear models, they assume the data linearity. Data is linearly separable, data is linearly modelable. Okay, linear models are possible to create. So there are many different, 6 different kind of algorithms are present in linear model. With the help of that, the machine learning models, statistical models, predictive models are possible to create. So I have listed few of them. Linear regression, which you already seen. Then logistic regression. That also I'll show you one like now. This is used for maximum likelihood estimation. Then ordinary least square regression, OLS. We are having that completely a separate topic that also we will see. Support vector machine, linear kernel. Then perceptron with linear activation function is also one of the linear model. Then linear discriminant analysis, that is Fisher's discriminant analysis is there, which is used, and logistic regression is only when we are using this model for maximum likelihood estimation. So linear regression, that is bivariate regression and multivariate regression, they are also the part of linear models itself. Okay, so linearity in the data is assumed, and with the help of linearity in the data, they are doing the prediction. See, In linear model, we assume that the data is linearly connected, correlation is there, 100% correlation that they have. Or if the data, the problem is of classification, then they uses the concept of finding the class of the data set, and according to that particular concept of finding the class, they predict the class of it. That is what classification models are there. Now, out of this listed over here, linear regression is regression, OLS is also regression, support vector machine is regression and classification both, perceptron is classification, linear discriminant analysis is used for regression, classification both, and logistic regression is used for classification only. Okay, so let's see one example how linear model actually behaves. Linear regression already we have seen bivariate regression, so same concept is applied here. I will not repeat it. We'll go for logistic regression and ordinary least square regression, how they are actually performed. Now let's see the examples. First, logistic regression. Only logistic regression we are going to see here. Now, logistic regression is an appropriate regression analysis to conduct a dependent variable, that is dichotomous, binary. Output variable present out of it is a binary variable. So at that time, we are going to use the logistic regression model there. Like all regression analysis, logistic regression is a predictive analysis here. So it's used to describe a data and to explain relationship between one dependent binary variable and one or more nominal, interval, ordinal variables. Dependent variable is output, like 0 and 1 is there only, output variable. And input, when you're give a data set, they can be nominal, they can be ordinal, they can be interval, or ratio variables are there. Fine, that is what logistic regression will do. So remember, though the name of algorithm carries the regression, it is used for classification system. See, I'll show you. There are many methods of linear modeling is possible in logistic regression, like binary, multinomial, ordinal are present. Binary 2, multinomial, multiple, ordinal means sequence. See, so how linear model is used? So regression analysis is also possible. Logistic regression is also there. Now we'll talk about logistic. Simple probability based modeling, logistic regression used for linear modeling. So probability is also there, linearity is also there, and this generative model is there. This is logistic regression. Let's see this one. What we have, what we know already. Let's see experience of salary and example of salary experience we have seen. Experience on x-axis and salary on y-axis. You can see they are incrementing like this. And what's the equation of line? So like y is equal to b0 plus b1x. So where x is input, y is output. If you have multiple regression, so we have y is equal to b0 plus b1 x1 plus b2 x2 b3 x3, like all go on using multiple regression there. Fine. Now let's see. My problem is something different. Then what will happen? How we model it? That also I'll show you. Linear model. So for example, the company has provided an offer to by email to their customers. One offer is given to the customers by company, and so my input is age on that particular age, means this customer's age is that, and they have received the email or not. That kind of information I'm having with me. So for example, on x-axis I have given the ages of the customers. The customer's age are given here on x-axis here, and on y-axis whether the email is received by the customer or not is mentioned on this axis. So now we can observe that the output variable is dichotomous, that is binary. Based on age, you have to identify whether you have received the email or not, like this. So your linear regression, if you apply, the model will be like this, but it is having accuracy of 50% only. Fine, because you can observe that only two points are there on line. What about this point? These points are far away from the line. Okay, so it can predict the value in some format, some 0 to 1 format, or more than that also possible. You can see only two possible outcomes are there. Only two possible outcomes, 0 and 1. So value above that is not possible. Value below that is also not possible. So check it out. And between these also not possible. Only two possibilities are there here, either 1 or 0, whether you received or not received. So those who are 1, they are received. Those are 0, they are not received. So what we'll do, we'll cut it, because above 1 possibility is not there, and below 0 again possibility is not there. Okay, so the model will be like this. We will have the lines in this way. So it's cutting, means below 0 all value will be 0, above 1 all value will be 1, like this. And here the straight line is there directly. Now, so this linear regression is converted in the form of curve based regression called a logistic regression with the help of a formula called a sigmoid function. You can see the sigmoid function formula I mentioned here. So what we have, y is equal to b0 plus b1x. Okay, it is transformed in the format. Okay, so in the format like p is equal to 1 divided by 1 plus e raised to minus y. This is your sigmoid function. This is our sigmoid function. And when you put this value of p, so you got getting this one, natural logarithm of p divided by 1 minus p is equal to this line. So when you apply that, this model will be transformed into this particular format. The model will be transformed in this particular format. Like this is called as the sigmoid curve. This is called as sigmoid curve, where the values will lie within 0 and 1 only. Minimum value will be 0, maximum value will be 1. And the curve will be created like this. Check it. So rather than using a linear model like this, we'll be using a model like this by using this formula of natural logarithm of p divided by 1 minus p, where p is a sigmoid function, like that. See this. Fine. And we are having the model something like that. So here we have 1, here we have 0. Now, how it's possible to do the prediction now? This is what a logistic function, sigmoid function. Okay. Now, here we have the actual value, output variable y. Here we have input variable, and the formula that we use to create this model of logistic is like this, between this range. Okay. And now, let's see. So, how the predictions are done now? Models created. How the predictions are done now? Predictions are done with the help of the generative probability concept. Let's see, for example, the model is like this. Here we have 0, here we have 1, and now we'll consider output variable is probability based, p hat. Okay, now let's see. For example, 20 is the new age, 30, 40, 50 are new ages, and I just want to predict that the customer will receive the email or not. Will receive the email or not. So to do this one, what we'll do, we'll predict these values on that line, on these logistic curve. We'll predict these values on this logistic curve, like this. So 20 is predicted on this curve, 30, 40, 50. Now when you predict on that, they will generate the probabilities of it. They will generate the probabilities. Probabilities are output from here. So you can see from 0, this point present on the line is points, it's covering 0.7% of area. Okay, 0 to 1, and how much is covering? 0.7%. 30 is covering 23% area here, this one from the 0. Then 40 is covering 85% area here, from 0.85% area is covered. Then 50, I am just projected onto it, it contains 99.4% area here. These probabilities are generated, okay, when I want to do the prediction. So by using that curve, now what is the class? Our output is not probability, our output is a class. Fine. So let's see, the probabilities which are above 50%, they are 1, and probabilities which are below 50%, they are 0. Above 50% are 1 and below 50% are 0. Check this here. So it means that 20 and 30, they will contains the value of y 0, but they are below 50%, and 30 and 40, they are above the 50% generative probability here. Their class is 1. It means that these two customers have not received the mail, and these two customers may have received the mail. This is what the predictive analytical model can be created with the help of this linear. So linear transformation done in logistic function, and by using the generative probability, they are identifying. So it is this algorithm called a logistic regression, and which is based on the linear model, which is based on the generative probability model also. And this way the predictions are possible. Fine. This is how the linear model basically behaves. Now, connected to that, we are having another different kind of model which is used to do the predictive analytics on the data, but internally using the concept of linearity. So regression analysis, we have talked about regression analysis already. What is that? It is the way to find a trend in the data, linear trend in the data. For example, you might guess that there is a connection between how much you eat and how much you weigh. Correct? Is it? That's correct. The regression is there. Regression can help you to quantify that. Linear regression. Basically, connecting with linear regression, there are many different topics are present. Many different linear regression methods are there. Linear or multiple, or we are having polynomial. Polynomial is curve actually based. Ridge regression, lasso regression, elastic net regressions are present. So with the help of regression, this predictive analytics are possible. Now, regression analysis will provide you with an equation of graph so that you can make predictions about your data. See, the model that you have created, but how effective is that? How to know? How to identify that? So to do this one, we have to analyze this particular result that you have achieved from the same. And to do so, we are going to make use of the regression analysis techniques, statistics. They are not complicated, they are so much easy. We'll see them practically also. So it will provide you with an equation for a graph so that you can make predictions on your data. For example, if you have been putting on weight, for over the last few years, it can predict how much you weigh in the 10 years time if you continue to put on weight on the same rate. Like this is what we have seen. Regression, bivariate regression, we have talked about, linear regression. Same concept is applicable here. It will also give you a slew of statistics, including p-value, correlation coefficient, to tell how accurate your model is. Correct? These are the methods by which the regression analysis is possible. Okay, probability values or correlation coefficient, they are actually focused on the analyzing the data from the regression algorithms. Here. Now, in statistics, it's hard to share a set of random numbers in a table and try to make the sense of it. So, for example, global warming may be reducing average snowfall in your town, and you are asked to predict how much snow you think will fall in this year. Yes, regression can be used, presented here. So looking at the table, I'll show you. You might guess somewhat around 10 to 20 inches. That's good guess, but you could make better guess by using the regression techniques here. See, for example, like this. In 2000, it was 40, 21, 39, 41, 29, 30, 33, 30, like all. Go on using it. Okay, so this is just an example. So regression technique can be applied. Linear models can be used. Linear regression models can be used. But okay, that's applied, that's used. But to analyze that this model is perfectly working on my data, then I need to use some statistical techniques there. This statistical technique that we are going to see one by one. So essentially, regression is a best guess using a set of data to make some kind of predictions. Basically, as we know, to build a model, we have to use some data which is called as training data. And when you have to do the operations to check the regression is working correctly or not, we are using a testing data onto it. Okay, so we can predict the result, and we can already having some data also with me, that is your training data and testing data. So basically that's used to perform the analysis or to find the to perform the analysis of regression algorithms here. So it's fitting a set of point on the graph. There is a whole host of tools that can run regression you, and using many tools like I mentioned Excel here can use to perform the operation and check the snowfall of this data. See this one. So any technique can be applied there. It's very easy. In bivariate regression also I have shown about it. Directly by using RAG plot, we can plot this data. Directly by using linear regress function, we can perform this operation. Even in scikit-learn also, there is a class called a linear regression which we can use to build this kind of model. It's easy. So see this one. Just line is created there. Okay. So this is original value, and this is your line of best fit. And here I mentioned some values also. So these values are actually showing the accuracy of this data. Accuracy of this data is 70%. But how it is calculated? There are some techniques by which you can analyze the results produced by the regression algorithm, linear algorithm basically, linear regression algorithm. So for that purpose, regression analysis is used. So in case of regression analysis, we actually analyze the performance, we evaluate the performance of linear regression models. So the performance of regression model can be understood by knowing the error rate of predictions made by the model, how much error it's present. Based on that, how accurate that model is, that we can find. We can also measure the performance by knowing how well regression line fit the data set. Means how close these points are there on the center of the line. That will show you the perfect accuracy, error rate of that particular data set. So good regression model is one where the difference between actual or observed values and predicted values for the selected model are small, unbiased for train, validation, and test data set. Unbiased, there is no bias present, means biasing towards training, so overfitting is occur. For testing, very less. For training, very high. That may be possible there. Okay, so difference between actual values and predicted by model, that we have to compare. And with the help of it, the regression analysis is possible. Performance evaluation of the regression models are possible. So there are many methods to analyze the regression models. We are using different techniques. In some statistical metrics are used. Here we'll discuss about the 4 techniques which are used to perform the regression analysis. The first is mean absolute error. Second is root mean squared error, RMSE. Third is coefficient of determination, called as R square. R square error is there, and adjusted R square error. So first 3 are very commonly used technique by which the performance evaluation of the regression kind of algorithms are done. We'll talk about the examples step by step. The first one is mean absolute error. For regression analysis, this statistical method is used. This is a simple mathematical technique actually. It is the simplest of all metrics. It is measured by taking the average of absolute difference between the actual values and the predictions. Between the actual values and the predictions values. So you can see the formula of mean absolute error is mentioned here. Summation of actual values minus y hat the predicted values by the regression model. Okay, so y minus y hat, their absolute values here, absolute of residual, and sum of all and average of all divided by n. That is mean absolute error that we can calculate. See, a small example we will show and then we'll analyze this regression. For example, I have a data something like this: age and failures. These are the age of the person and how many number of failures you have occurred, that we are having, that you were having in your life. At the age 15, 20, 30, 40, 40, 50, 55, 70, 75, 90, 90. That number of failures that we come across. And I have modeled it like this. And now, when I build a linear regression model of it, you can see this line will be generated like this. Now see, so using the line is a best fit. It will not acquire all kind of values present there. Fine, same values will not be there present, but the values which are present on the line, they are the predicted values, okay, on the same model, and original values are this. For example, when I build this line, linear regression, so it contains slope and the y intercept here on y-axis. So original data, and with the help of model, with the help of the line that we have created, just like we have seen linear regress, we have created this line and then we have done the predictions like this. See, so age actual value is here and predicted value is here. This 26 on this. Okay, here actual value is 30, predicted value 32. Something very small difference is there. For this case, 40 and 44. For this case, it is 55 is there, but it is generating 50 below. For this case, it is 62. It is actually 75 generating 62, and for this case it is actually 90 but generating 74 below, like that on the line. Predictions are on the line. These are the actual values present here. Fine, like that the line is created. For example, now what is mean absolute error? First, regression analysis. Now see, the error is the difference between actual value and the predicted values. See that. Here difference is 11, 2, 4, minus 5, minus 13, minus 16. So these are the positive differences. Here the negative difference because they are above, like this. And as I told, we need to find the absolute value of it. Now this is mean absolute error. See this. predictions error is this, and absolute error is positive error that we can got. So all these negative value will become positive, and I will find the average of all here. Average of all, that is 8.5. This is called as mean absolute error. Called as mean absolute error, which is calculated by this particular formula. Okay, just a minute. Now you can see this. Some inbuilt functions are present in matrix which we can use to perform the same operation, but I can do it by my own also. See this one. So here I'm having the same data frame I have created. You can see this exactly same method to find the mean absolute age input, failure output, and predicted by the model is this, which I mentioned there. Okay, like this. And now if I want to find the error, the mean error, which I have done in the first table already, so that we can do with the help of the error is equal to df of failure minus predictions. Okay, failure minus predictions. That's what we can do. And you can see this is a data frame I have created. Okay, and the error is like this. See, absolute difference, np.abs of df failures minus df of predictions. So original value minus predicted value, the difference is this. And absolute dimension abs, so this 3 negative value will become positive, correct? And mean absolute error is this 8.5, correct? That's what you have seen in the presentation there. And there is a function inbuilt Python present which we can find the mean absolute error for the regression problem. So in matrix function, there's a function called as mean absolute error. We have to pass original value and predicted values here. So if you pass it, you can check this one, we will get the mean absolute error same. So above that I have shown by using the formula which you have applied there for finding MAE, and here we can see the function, inbuilt function, mean absolute error function is there, by which the MAE, mean absolute error, is calculated. Okay, taking time. Check this. Inbuilt function is there. This function you have to pass actual values that we have seen here. Failure and prediction. So any before and after you can pass, it doesn't matter because final values are always absolute. So negative value will be discarded and original value that we will get here. So it is 8.5. This is how it's identified. So mean means on average, I'm having the difference of 8.5 between the actual value and predicted value. See this one. This is what we got. 8.5, 8.5. So the method is same. In either I can use perform the operation from scratch, or you can perform the operation with the help of the internal function. Okay. So both of these tasks are same. That's we can use it there. This is the first method of finding using the mean absolute error to perform the regression analysis there. Okay. So how it is calculated? See, this is your function summation of y minus y hat divided by n. So it tells an average error of units y in the predicted features. Value of 0 indicate perfect fit, no error is there. So in this example we have 8.5. So it means that on average our predictions of number of machine failures are incorrect by 8.5 machine failures. Correct? 8.5 machine failures. Fine. That's what you can have. Second is RMSE, root mean squared error. Root mean squared error. So root mean squared error is measured by taking square root of average of the square difference between the prediction and the actual value. See this one. This is the formula for RMSE used. It represents the sample standard deviation of differences between predicted values and the observed values, called as residuals. You can see this. RMSE is equal to square root of all summation of predicted I minus actual I square divided by n. Divided by n. Okay, it's called as RMSE, the root mean squared error. Now to calculate this, now we can identify this. This is error we calculated, and now the difference and the error, that is square error. We got this. We are not using absolute value here because if you do the square of negative number, it will become positive. That's why absolute values are not taken. correctly if you do the square, then mean of that error is add all them together and then divided by total number. So 98.5 will be there. Mean of error square. And then root mean squared error is this. Square root of it, 9.9 is the error present in the output. Root mean squared error, RMSE. This is how it's calculated. Using the formula which you can see over there, original value and predicted values, their square divided by n and then square root. That is how the root mean squared error is calculated. Now, if you talk about the example, so if you to do the same thing practically with the help of Python, so whatever the example I shown here, so with that example we can just continue with, and you can see this one. So error we already got. These are the squared error. See, absolute errors are not there. These are the squared errors. Correct. Square. I just made the square of these errors. Error square. And mean of them is 98.5. This one. Correct. Which you have calculated. NP dot mean of all the errors is 98.5. And then square root of it is 9.92. Okay. 9.92. That is mean. Root mean squared error. Root mean squared error, and this is calculated with the help of library function. Also in matrix we have mean squared error function. Root mean squared error is not there. We have to use the square root of it to perform this operation. So check it out. Exacted, and now see same number. From here I have calculated manually, and here I have calculated by the library. Mean squared error, that is DF of failure comma DF of predictions, is equal to 98.5. That's what we got here. And if you find the square root of it, it will become 9.9. This method. Okay, like if you write mmath.sqrt for this number, we will have 9.9. So this method, the second method, is used for regression analysis, is to perform the operation of to find the root mean squared error over here. Okay, and how the interpretation of the root mean squared error will be there. The interpretation, like as we can think, RMSE is being measured in units of y. So in above error we can read an error of 9.9 machine failures on average per observation. On average per observation, that is RMSE will there. So if you compare that, compared to MAE, RMSE gives a higher total error, and the gap increases, the error becomes larger. It penalizes a few large error more than a lot of small errors. If you want your model to avoid large errors, use RMSE or MAE. Yes, that is what we need to use. If you want to model to avoid large errors, you can use RMSE instead of MAE. So RMSE indicate the average error in units of y. Same, the predicted feature, but the penalizes larger errors several by MAE. The value of 0 indicate a perfect fit for this case also. So you should also be aware that the sample size increases accumulation by slightly higher RMSE than the MAEs presented. So it depends on everyone's practice to use, whether you used to use MAE or RMSE to find the average error in the root format or in the mean absolute format. And the third regression method, analyzing method, is R squared error, which is very commonly used kind of errors, and most of the time the people don't know how it is exactly calculated. So see this, how it's calculated. It is measure of how well actual outcome are replicated by the regression line. Actual outcome are replicated by regression line means actual accuracy of regression model is given by R squared error. Okay, so it helps you to understand how well the independent variable adjusted with the variance in your model. See, the formula is like that. So it means that how good your model is for data set. The mathematical representation is C R square error is equal to variance. Okay, here we have summation of y hat minus y bar divided by summation of yi minus y bar square. It is another formula I can determine here. R square is equal to variance of mean minus variance of line divided by variance of mean. So it is SSR divided by SST also, you can see. So many different terminologies are used, but their meaning is almost same. SSR is a sum square of residuals. Sum square of residual. So residual means the difference between actual and original value, predicted value and average value. Sum square of residuals. And SST means sum square of total. The square difference between the actual and the average value is called as the SST. Now see, You'll see graphically how it is calculated. Now, this is your model first here, and this is your mean line. Mean means a center line here. Center. The mean of all the values is 50.8, for example. So you can see that the regression line fits the data better than the mean line. This is a baseline, and here if you draw this one, say a horizontal line, it is not good. Okay, so which is what we are expecting. The mean line is a pretty simplistic model for all, but you can say that the much better is, so exactly R2 does. See the calculations. See, so how it is calculated. Check it out. Here we have the regression line. See, here the mean line. Mean is center. The difference y bar is the mean value. Mean center 50.8. So y minus y bar. So if we predict this one, y failure minus 50.8, everyone 50.8 subtracted from this value failure, and we got this mean line, the horizontal line, correct? Regression line is this one, error square, and mean lines error square are this. Regression line original squares, that's already we have seen. This is mean line squares, all are this, and then mean of error. The mean of first regression line error is 98.5, already we have seen, and the mean of mean line center line, if you consider that, and their differences, and their square and their average is 661.8. That actually average are very large there. 128, 1200, then 432, 116, 17, 585, 1536, and all of their average is 661 here that we got. Okay, and after that we will put these values here in the R squared error. The R squared error is calculated by this method. You can see this. So summation of y minus y bar square, this one, 661, minus summation of y minus y hat square, this value, correct, divided by y minus y bar square, this value, we are getting 0.85. So big is that R squared error. This is calculated R squared error. Okay, so both are squared there, regression line and mean line also. Regression actual line and mean line both are connected, and with the help of it the R squared error calculated. One more thing to note, R squared error is the accuracy of the model. 85% is the accuracy that model is containing. R squared error will show you that. How much accurate is this? 85%. So linear model regression analysis is perfectly done by this particular method. We'll see this one. So and directly we are having a function also, means inbuilt in Python there's a function R2 score. So with the help of R2 score, it's also possible to get this particular error there. So if you check this out, see this. So mean line I got first, 50 minus a subtracted from all the failures here. So we got the mean line. Then square of mean line is this, all we have seen these values, square of mean line. Okay, and now here is our score. NP dot sum of mean line errors minus sum of errors divided by sum of mean line errors. Check it out. See, 0.85. Correct. So as per the calculation shown on the presentation, it is happening. It's done over here also. See this. 0.85. So 85% is the accuracy of your data is. 85% accuracy. And if you want to do by using the function, Python function, there is a R2 score function present into matrix package of sklearn. 85% they are accurate. So in linear regression, if you want to check the accuracy of it, R2 score will perfectly show you. So 85% the results are accurate. That kind of interpretation can be done with the help of the R squared error. And now if you consider that the R squared error is accuracy, it means that 1.0 is the perfect value, perfect fit that we can say. So additional part from calculation that we are column like R squares, we have R squared 0.5 without even worrying about units of y. We can say that the descent model value of R squared error always will lie from 0 to 1. 0 to 1. because the model explains here 85% variation in the data. So exactly R squared error is 85% accurate. That's what we can see, identify from it. See, here is another example. You can see this one. If our data points or regression looks like this, perfect fit. So the variance around the regression line is 0. Okay. In other words, variance of line is 0. So first element will directly become 0. Sorry, second element directly will become 0. So mean line divided by mean line 1.0. That will be present. 100% accuracy will be there. See this one. Variance of line will be 0. So variance of mean divided by variance of mean 1 by 1. Perfectly 1. That can be, this is 100% accurate. Like that we can say. Fine. And see, let's look at another example with a data point regression like look like this. Okay, here. So in this case, the variance of line and variance of mean are same. For example, variance of line and variance of mean are same. So R squared error will be 0. Means there is 0% accuracy present inside. That may be possible. See, completely inverse. I want this direction and I'm getting this direction. So inverse task is there. That time error will be 0. R squared error will be 0. It means that this is no accuracy present there. Completely inverse task is there. 1 means perfect fit, 0 means no. And in previous case that we have seen, though its name is error, it is identifying accuracy of the model actually. So let's summarize it for regression analysis. Mean absolute error, MAE, tells us the average error in units of Y of predicted feature, and value 0 indicate a perfect fit. First analysis method. Second analysis method, RMSE. Root mean squared error indicate that the average error in the units of Y and the predicted feature, but penalizes the large error more severely than MAE. That's a difference MAE and RMSE containing. Value of 0 indicates perfect fit for this case also. And R squared error, the third one, it tells us the degree to which the model explain the variance of the data. Explain the variance of the in the data. In other words, how much better it is than the predicted mean that we can identify. So here value of 1 means perfect fit, 100% accuracy is there. Value of 0 indicate the model is no better than the mean, 0% accuracy is there. Value less than 0 indicate the model is worse than the predicting the mean. There is nothing is there in linear regression. So regression analysis, we are going to make use of these three techniques statistically, and based on that we can identify how perfectly, how better the model is performing on the given data set there. This is the regression analysis method that we are going to make use of it. Fine. So that's from today's session. If you have any doubts or questions, so you can ask, or we'll close this session. If any doubts or questions are there, you can ask. One more topic is remaining. It will take much time. So we'll see that in the next lecture.